Hello, Robert.
Hey.
It's been a long time, Rob.
Yeah, it's been a few weeks.
How's life been treating you?
Okay.
To suspend. I think you'll like this little anecdote. Yesterday, I didn't want to wear my suspenders, which I've been exclusively wearing for the past few years. No belts, even though it's like, Thor, why are you trying to steal the mics? He's a monster, Rob.
He is.
He's a monster I created, and then I call him a monster. Let me make sure that the camera didn't shift. So I always wear suspenders, but yesterday I didn't feel like wearing them, and I didn't want the cutting off of the skin and the stuff, and so I decided to wear a belt. I had to find a belt because it had been so long since I wore one. And then I was like, yeah, why did I stop wearing belts? And then as I'm driving and I feel the belt like digging into my hips, I'm like, oh, that's why. Like, it's very uncomfortable. And all day my pants were sagging off my back end, and I just had to monitor my pants all day. And it's just such a good reminder of trade-offs. We always think that we're going to fix a problem by replacing a solution with another one, only to find out the grass is not always greener, huh?
It's true, yeah. That makes sense. Yeah.
Okay, so what is something that you would like to impart on people from the last few weeks of your intellectual travails?
I guess it's still a sort of a mix right now.
Mm-hmm.
But no, I thought well, we're gonna introduce our series and whatnot.
Let's do it, yeah.
And then I thought we could probably just, in introduction to, I guess we're going to start maybe chapter by chapter. I don't know how he breaks it up. I think he has subsections within each chapter.
Okay.
But we could introduce just the concept of the infinite, since you can't really convey the infinite totally by definition. So
if you wouldn't mind, I'll just started with a better energy that helps you, because I think we're probably in a weird space a little bit, because I think you had fully planned on us just starting with that, so I'll know to cut it right now. Well, hey there. So Steve and Rob here. We're excited to announce a new series. We're going to focus on, now, do you call him more alt-right or proto-fascist? How do you describe Soren Kierkegaard?
I go pure racist.
Oh, pure okay, so that's how you know he's got that good.
Sex racist, actually.
Oh, sex racist.
A rapist.
Oh my gosh. We do not condone R at this podcast, nor the joking of it. And we won't even use the
what
word.
is a sex racist besides a rapist?
Oh my gosh. I don't even know if you can say that word on YouTube anymore. So the socially acceptable corollary is...
Ravisher?
Grapist?
Rapist. Woman grabber humper.
Yeah, right?
Puss humper.
Also, struggle snuggler.
Okay.
Yeah.
Leg spreader.
Oh my gosh. Are we going to have to start again? Third take at it? Talking about rape? Okay, third take. Well, hey there, everybody. Steve and Rob here from your favorite podcast.
Yeah.
And we are excited to announce a new series on The Sickness Unto Death by some guy named... Is that a zero? What is the O with the line? Soren Kierkegaard?
Something.
Danish, those weird Danes, huh?
Yeah.
So, why are we reading Kierkegaard?
Well, I think it was prompted by your experience a couple weeks ago. Your spiritual experience, right?
Oh my, did I have one now?
I think so. I mean, God knows. But you could have been lying, I guess.
I know, right? Educate the audience. What have I been going through?
Well, I think this is why it's so funny to talk about and why I never talk about it. I think Steve has realized the unconditional. I mean,
Oh, the unconditional. Such a thing exists.
AKA the infinite.
All I've ever known is conditional regard and love.
I mean, I remember I was telling Steve that, so the reason we connected it to this was because this was the first book I ever read by Kierkegaard, and it was actually the book that awakened me to the infinite.
When he was 9 years old,
When I was
and
9
that was
years
when he
old.
became fully formed, and
Yes.
it's taken me till 40 to.
So Steve's just
learn these
spiritually a
things.
child compared to me.
Oh,
Obviously.
of course, yes.
Spiritual midget / dwarf compared to me.
Oh, yeah.
But which is anyways, but so yeah, this is what prompted me to that awakening, but I feel like there's no way in even stating that phrase without sounding ridiculous. But either way, we'll go through this ridiculous journey through this book, and just to show that we're not crazy, we'll show that there's another author who is crazy that actually confirms likewise experiences.
So I think I'm really struck by your framing of the finite and the infinite, and it's almost like I think you unlocked a deeper layer for me, because now I'm seeing how it really like all works together.
You're going beyond the infinite, is what you're saying.
Yeah. Well, but I'm mansplaining it, which means it's better, you know.
Exactly.
And given my academic credentials, it instantly has more weight when it's coming from my mouth.
That is a trick of the guru, though. You just create illusory degrees and grades that's never ending, and there's always like a higher one. You know, that's the game of it.
But I mean, isn't there always something deeper?
For sure.
You know.
Yeah, exactly.
But so the reason I say that is like it sounded so cliche, if not gay, when in Perks of Being a Wallflower, he says we are limitless.
Yeah.
And I mean, I was just like, oh my God.
Sounds like a cliche sports saying.
I know, like some gay writer, nothing is impossible. Like, oh, really? Thanks for that cliche.
Yeah.
But really, that reason why your framing of that, like, unlocked it for me, I think I finally saw it as more ubiquitous, that when you see a finite world, you're limiting yourself. When you are managing your experience by preventing yourself from feeling the pain of an inherently painful experience because you need to anesthetize it with alcohol, or you need to cope with it by some illusion about how you're superior. You know, it's okay that I'm showing some ass at this party because I have my PhD. You know, like if anybody threatened me based off of how I dress, I fall back on my defensiveness and my superiority complex to say, like, well, whatever you're saying is irrelevant because I'm this. Yeah. I'm taller than you. I'm smarter. I'm better looking. Like, that's all. We're trying to protect ourselves, but all we're really doing is placing limits on the unlimited, on the limitless, and trying to. And really, it's just another way of like judging ourselves.
Yeah.
Because we're almost tacitly agreeing to their judgment of us by having to dignify with a response or a defense.
Yeah.
And a lot of the times we're actually prosecuting ourselves.
Yeah.
So it's like you and I mean, I hope I'm not speaking for you in this regard, but you've been in a room where you think they're judging you, and really you're prosecuting that judgment yourself. Because they never even said something to you about how you dress, what you said, how you look, but you're doing it to yourself, right?
Yeah, it's the double bind, right?
Right.
It's like you're in a situation, and if you make it a battle, there's got to be a winner or a loser.
Yeah.
But if you're not competing in that game and you're on a higher level,
right? And
again, it's almost impossible not to sound like pompous and bombastic, but no, there's a truth there, right? Like, and that's why even I don't know. It makes me think about like how the spiritual presence is the true center, right? But in a corrupt situation, that true center is going to be mistaken for a reflection of the corruption. Yeah. Right? So they'll be like, oh, that's just ego, that's just this. But no, it will be an interesting, this is a fascinating idea, even like we were talking about trying to describe conceptually, because it's ultimately you can never really define it. It's an undefinable, it's undefinable by definition. It's a paradox. It's a self-contradiction. But the best we can do is try to describe it. Okay. And hence, even, I mean, this is a title that's similar to something I'm working on. It's a Christian psychological exposition for upbuilding and awakening. So that's all we're trying. Yeah. We're using description to try to awaken something that we can't awaken ourselves. It's in the other person, but we can prompt it the best we can.
Yeah.
And so that this book is a tool for that.
Mm-hmm.
I guess it's sort of interesting, that's why for you to talk about what prompted your awakening, like I said, I remember mine vaguely because I was 12 obviously when it happened, but I remember afterwards it really was like a switch, like you were talking about. Like it literally, and it almost comes from a deviation in the beginning.
Yeah.
So for instance, I was a role player in the beginning. I was trapped in a certain narrative and matrix, right?
Yeah.
Like I was a puppet to my desires. I was a puppet to chasing this romantic narrative that I became obsessed with.
Sure.
I was defined as an athlete in college, as a jock, whatever.
Yeah, you were limited.
And then I read this, and then it was almost like I didn't have to go out every weekend.
Yeah.
Just that deviation, that simple deviation off course, and now everything opens up, and it's like you see this new horizon, whereas before you had blinders on, and you were trapped in this prison of a path. But now it's like the path is, that prison of a path is gone. And now you almost can like choose any path, and it's overwhelming.
At first, yeah, you don't know what to do because
Yes.
all you knew was this one path, and now you see this panoply of opportunities.
Yes.
Where do you go?
And Kierkegaard actually describes that condition because he describes all the degrees of conditions from like the finite of what we were talking a puppet, but then he says there's also the condition that's too infinite, and it's not grounded in the finite.
Yeah.
Where you're overwhelmed and you're flooded, and literally madness is a potential risk.
So we're touching on this concept of like limiting, right, and limitations, and in addiction literature, addiction research, they talk about a narrowing of the focus, kind of like how they say that a non-addict can get pleasure from a bunch of things, and the addict can only get pleasure from one.
Yeah.
That it's almost like it narrows your focus, and that was what it did for you, right?
Yeah.
Like the only conception you had of how to spend your Friday night was going out.
Yep.
That was what everybody did. You were stuck in
It was
that
a ritual.
matrix. Yeah, it was a ritual. And I mean, that's the other thing is like it was kind of just cue habit.
Yes.
Like you weren't even making a decision to do it.
Yeah.
The calendar read Friday, and then you said, well, tonight I'm going out.
It's fascinating. It's almost so nostalgic, I think, when we think about it, because you remember, like, whether it's being in college or high school, like, it's 7 p.m. on a Friday.
Yeah.
You immediately call your friend or text that friend.
Yeah.
Similar plans or patterns start unfolding, right?
Of course, yeah.
But the beauty of it was crazy, because I remember reading this. I was literally in my garage. I'm like, it had to be early autumn, so just in a t-shirt and just in a damp garage. But I felt more free than I ever had in my life, just because I didn't fall into that pattern.
Yeah.
So it was literally just like being there, being alone, being in solitude on a autumn night, and it was like the first real breath of air I felt in like forever. It was a different air, right? It was ether.
Definitely. Yeah.
So yeah, it's a qualitative alteration.
You are also experiencing life.
Yeah.
Right? So automaticity is something that the brain loves to do to spare cognitive resources, right? So our brain, it is only 5% of the organism's weight, takes up 80% of the oxygen. So that's how we have all of these little cognitive tricks to not pay attention to things. If I gave you glasses and I put a dot on it, I put like with a marker, I just like hit a dot on the center of it. You would obsess about it for the first few hours or so, and after a while, you wouldn't even notice it anymore.
Oh, nice.
Even though it's right in your view.
Yeah.
And it's like the brain just does all these things to calibrate and become efficient in how it uses its resources. So it's like with that, instead of having to spend all the time and energy deliberating at all times, it wanted to stay narrow. And once you got out of that, though, you were actually attending to things and experiencing things you probably never did. Like the garage felt differently to you than it ever had before. The smell of the air, you start noticing things you never did before, and it's because you're actually aware now.
Yeah.
And you're in the present.
Yeah.
So when you're thinking about what is the plan later at 7 o'clock, you're not actually experiencing whatever you're experiencing in the moment. You're fixated on what it'll be like at 9 o'clock once you hit the bar. Yeah. And that's people who, the difference between living for today and living for some imagined future.
Definitely. Yeah, and I think, that's a great way of describing the opening of possibility, right?
Yeah.
And we talked about how possibility literally is just awareness. Like if
Mm-hmm.
you're not aware of possibility, there is no possibility.
Yeah.
And that's what that was. Like that was a form of contemplation. Just like I said, always like that phrase Aristotle's the immovable unmover when he's describing God, and that is like a divine practice. That is a spiritual activity while being inactive, right?
Yeah.
And that's why Guinan, he always talks about that, how like the highest activity is actually inactivity in this world.
Yeah.
Because the spiritual becomes active then, rather than the body. But the only way to typically engage that is to leave all the noisy and the chaotic activity of the world. So
Right.
yeah, I think it was almost that garage was almost like my initiatic cave. And really anywhere in this modern time, whether it's the garage or a basement for the basement dwellers and the incels, or just a house, like if you're contemplating, reading, or just struck by awareness, like that is your initiatory cave.
So let's see. I don't want to get too ahead of myself, but if you wouldn't mind, I'd like to do like more macro discussion, almost like let's preview the path we're going to go down before we go down it.
Yeah.
Let's see. This is a pretty big topic, so it's hard to know the perfect entry point. I guess my instinct is to start with this. So I have been, I don't know why, I've been obsessed with this notion for a couple decades. It might seem like it's like a distinction without a difference, but it feels profound to me for some reason, okay? So in gesture research, in nonverbal communication, a lot of the studies that they do to show the importance of hand movements is they show children, we'll say for instance, videos of instruction where the person is gesturing and the person is not gesturing, okay? And reliably, kids learn better, they pay better attention, all things are good when gesture is present. And when gesture is not present, they have more difficulty, okay? The claim that's then made is that gesture helps because the presence helps and the absence hurts, right? And for me, what felt so true was actually not that it helps, that its absence hurts. It's that our actual communicative system is built on integration between spoken communication and either explicit gestural communication, like I actually give like an okay sign, or something that is just like facilitative. Something that is both facilitative for the listener as well as the producer. So it could be that these hand movements for me actually help me access ideas better and feel smoother in my communication. Or they lighten cognitive load, because if I'm just talking like this, then if we actually evolve to have to move our hands, restricting it actually makes it worse. So this idea has then come to like walking for me. So a lot of people say like walking helps, walking promotes health, walking is a good form of exercise. And for me, I always saw it as, if tribes people are walking 8 miles a day on average, because that's what an average human has to walk to be healthy. And then we found in research that 16,000 steps a day is like, which is about 8 miles, is about the biggest thing you could do for longevity. That suggests to me walking is not helpful. Walking is expected. You have to walk that much to have a good life. Not that you're doing yourself a favor when doing it, right?
Yeah.
And now to this moment, it brings me to the thought of both connection and the thought of God. So I think God has always been sold as, if everything in your life is failing, try to turn to God. Even in Christian circles, I always took it as, it's like, hey, if you can be good on your own, you're fine. But like when you have a hard moment, go to God. And I really think that it's not that God is a tool that we could use when we need to, but that literally it is not only true, like, do I believe in God? I think humans are absolutely built with that God-shaped hole in their heart, and they cannot flourish as an individual without it, because the concept of the infinite, it actually buffers a lot of the inherent negative aspects of consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why, like, if you talk to a nihilist and an atheist, they'll say, like, consciousness is like a cruel joke on humans. That, like, no species was ever meant to be self-aware in that way, right? But, like, the funny part is, even in their view, even if you didn't believe in a God, I think if you just review the fact that there has never been a successful human civilization that didn't have a concept of God or the infinite, I think it is just like manifestly clear that we need to have a connection to the infinite in order to buttress all those negative aspects of being self-aware of the fact that you're going to die, your family is going to die. I mean, talk to a dog owner about what's most distressing in their life, and it's usually when they think about their dog dying.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that seems spot on. I mean, in either way, we were kind of talking about this earlier. It's kind of, thought is a tricky thing, right? Because we're, again, trying to describe the indescribable, and we constantly fall into these pitfalls and double binds. But we can't truly ever disconnect from the infinite, right? It's always a matter of how aware are we of it.
Mm-hmm.
So even for a nihilist, like, sure, they're going to experience way more pain and suffering, but that's their own doing in a sense.
Yeah.
Because it's ultimately they're giving into an illusion that isn't real, the illusion that there is nothing beyond this own prison that they're experiencing, which is their mind. So yeah, I mean, from whatever angle you look at it, like, it would be really interesting actually for us to try to create a nihilist argument.
Oh,
and we're
yeah.
interested in ourselves.
Yeah,
because
definitely.
I mean, it's just
to steelman it.
Yeah,
to
because
contend with it.
Yeah, because for us, especially like with even from what you just said to what I'm just saying now, it's like it's hard for me to imagine any nihilist argument that's tenable at all, or even in a small capacity.
It's self-negating. Let's just be honest.
Yeah. So, I mean, the best we can do is like describe the nihilist misery and its pain, and that's really all we can do, and that's an obviously inherent argument against it.
And in all honesty, the smartest nihilists and atheists that I've contended with actually just admit a different form of the finite, one that is more palatable to them. So they talk about like the connection between humans over the millennia, right? The notion that it's like there is this through thread, and even in certain cultures where they talk about their ancestors, and I mean that's still a concept of the infinite.
It's an imminent transcendence,
right? Yeah, it's not one that is fully satisfactory, but it's probably does just enough.
Yeah, it's
in
just
order to
temporal form,
right,
of the eternal, essentially.
Yeah. I mean, but that's the thing. It functions in the same way as the infinite. The infinite, I mean, it seems like, at least functionally, it's really just about transcending the self.
Yeah. I
No, I know. That's a bastardization. I'm just saying, like, if you want to look at it, if you were a nihilist and you wanted to steelman, like, why do people believe in the infinite?
Yeah.
It is simply that when they are the unit of measurement in existence, it's just way too much pressure. Everything takes on way too much meaning.
Yeah.
And we just do not thrive in such an egocentric view. And that once you have enough humility that it's not just about you. And for them, it could be your kids, it could be your nephews, it could be your ancestors. Just something that moves outside of the ego or the self.
Yeah. I was even writing about something that it's going to be hard for me to describe in words, but I'm sure you'll get it. If
you could gesture it, I could probably detect that better. Okay. Oh, yeah.
My cousin's kid was teaching me some sign language yesterday. And,
that's cool.
And I was showing her my sign language. The only thing I know is this one, but...
What the hell's that one?
You know.
Taking a crap?
Something like that.
Oh, my gosh. The only one he ever taught me was this one.
But, so, Kierkegaard, I think it was in Repetition. Anyways, What book was he talking? Anyways, he talks about how the future, the concept of the future, is a disguise for basically the eternal. And
Yes,
eternal
exactly.
So even for nihilists who believe this is the only world, they didn't consider that to have a concept of past, present, and future. You need a greater backdrop of awareness to even have those.
Yes.
Otherwise, we'd be like animals just trapped in a finite present.
Yeah.
So therefore, to even have this backdrop, we have to have some sort of eternal / infinite awareness beyond this finite moment we're within, right?
Yeah.
So even just based on our awareness, like I know we take things for granted to the point where like we've secularized concepts like the future, past, and present.
Definitely, yeah.
Even just that greater awareness shows an even greater awareness of a backdrop that is beyond finite temporality.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and like I said, like these tenses are so common that I don't think it's that easy to grasp for people how big of a difference and how profound that is.
Yeah.
That like just our own awareness of tenses implies an eternal awareness as a backdrop, but
definitely
it's like at a certain point you'll realize how self-evident that is.
Mm-hmm.
So even that in a way disproves the nihilist.
Oh yeah.
Because otherwise we literally would just be like squirrel collects nut today, puts nut in tree next moment, and that's just you're a machine basically, right?
Yeah.
But to get beyond
pure causality.
Yeah, and I mean obviously then like beyond causality would go to the matrix awareness, but even within that matrix awareness, just to function as a human, you need something beyond the matrix awareness. Otherwise, like you said, there would be no conception of the future.
Mm-hmm.
And there'd be no thought, awareness, or any idea of it whatsoever. So.
Yeah, I think this is somewhat similar to connection, which this is something I'm starting to develop. Basically, my thesis is that suffering isn't really all about resistance, as the Buddhists say. I would argue that suffering is really about the absence of buffering and the absence of connection. I think buffering is a form of connection, right? So if I have connection to you as a friend, that connection acts as a buffering. If my boss is miserable to me during the day, I get to talk to you afterwards and say like, man, he was such an asshole, right? And when you don't have those outlets that help you metabolize pain, reframe pain, not take it personally, that ultimately when you're in that disconnected state of everything, that you're like that squirrel, when somebody hurts you, that pain is all that feels real. And really your only option is to make an inference about yourself as to why that pain happened.
Yeah.
So yeah, a lot of my ideas are still half-baked, so it'll be interesting for me to talk about them more later on. But I think I'm just seeing like a through thread that a lot of human suffering is basically that we have been robbed of the things that have developed alongside the human condition to protect us from pain, not protect us from pain, help us cope with pain and protect us from suffering, which is just unnecessary pain.
Definitely. And I mean, in a way, the finite and limitation is the pain. Mm-hmm. But as soon as you have that buffering that you're talking about, which is an infinite realization, it gets transformed to where you're greater than the suffering, therefore the suffering dissipates. Yeah. It is no more, it is a realization of love.
Yeah, and that's a good way of saying it. It's almost like a grounding. Yeah. Right? And if you don't have that grounding, you are susceptible to that moment. But like having that backdrop of love. Yeah. I mean, even an experience where, let's say you said something that offended me in the moment. We're like pretty unoffendable. But let's just say like you were able to say something that like hurt my feelings. I would then be able to contextualize that within the domain of our relationship. Whereas if it's just like a random person on the street and they said something like that, that could just be pure pain, pure suffering. And even having that grounding in God. And I mean, I think that's pretty explicit in the Christian ethic that we're supposed to love our neighbor as ourselves, treat everybody that we encounter as if they are God.
Yeah.
And when we have that higher connection to him, and this is even something that's reverberated through marriage, it's like you're actually like married to God, like first and foremost.
Yeah.
And if you have that grounding in he is your primary connection, when your spouse cheats on you, your world doesn't shatter because you have the context of we're both humans, fallible, sinful humans.
Yeah.
And ultimately we're connected to God. And I don't see it as you were offending me when you cheated on me, but more so you were disconnecting from God and your relationship with him when you stepped out of that line. And then that just prevents you from taking things personally.
Yeah.
Easier said than done, I'm sure. But I'm guessing that's about the only way you could cope with that without it, doing tremendous damage to you in the relationship.
Definitely. There's got to be a principle greater than the finite principle.
Right.
And that's what God is. Like, he's a permeation of a greater principle within our containment, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I actually had this idea just recently, and it sort of relates to that in a more metaphorical way.
Oh, in a more sophisticated way, yeah. Okay.
It's interesting. It's like...
Yeah, it's more interesting. More eloquent, elegant, all the good things.
I'm going to try to figure out how to say it because it's so deep.
Yeah, take your time. Oh, of course, yeah. If you guys all want to grab some snacks, maybe make like a lasagna while you wait.
So I made this distinction between void and emptiness.
Okay.
And it's sort of interesting.
Oh, I love it. No, it instantly makes sense. But continue. Only somebody as deep of a thinker as I am can understand this point without even hearing the explanation.
So emptiness is more so associated with the finite.
Yeah.
But the sort of trick of it, I guess you could say, or what you wouldn't expect is emptiness, which you would think is like empty space.
Yes, yeah.
Is actually contained.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas void is not contained. It's limitless.
Yeah.
And there's a sudden distinction between them, right? Emptiness is like what we experience as like emptiness within this world.
Yeah.
Whereas if you get beyond the matrix, anything that's limitless is no longer experienced as lack, but a full freedom.
Okay.
So it's almost like transformative. But really, we in this world see them as the same thing.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, when we feel
without interrogation.
When we feel empty, you
yeah.
feel horrible. You feel unloved, you feel lacking, you feel desire, you want to feel full.
Uh-huh.
But within the infinite, the emptiness is no longer truly emptiness.
Yeah.
It's a limitlessness. It's freedom. Hence,
Yes.
the infinite void is not and void has a negative connotation in our realm as well.
It does,
right?
yeah.
So I just was thinking about the distinction between the finite and infinite, and I realized you could make a distinction between void as the infinite and emptiness as the finite. And that's why we're often confused with the two, because they typically always have a negative connotation and they always inhere with pain or lack. But really, if you get beyond the finite understanding of emptiness, you experience it, it basically transforms into fullness, freedom, the lack of limitation. So that's the trick, is like everything we're talking about is always getting beyond the duality of it, right? And going from the finite limited interpretation to this higher, I call it the singular interpretation, just to have that distinction from the dual. But no, yeah, I thought it was just a pretty super profound, cool way of
Well, of course, I mean,
that.
you did think of it.
I know,
right?
exactly.
As a man, I mean.
Exactly. So void versus emptiness.
So I think I got distracted. I lost presence for a moment because I was trying to think through it myself.
Yeah.
Because I was thinking about how it's inhabited in language, right?
Yes.
And I was trying to think of the examples of, like, if somebody is not here, you wouldn't say it feels empty here. You would say it feels like there's a void.
Yeah.
And that's because that person is not like a discrete unit. They are their laughter, they are their time and energy, and it feels limitless.
So even
right?
in my writing, I used that as an example.
Oh, did you? Okay.
So I said the finite emptiness is an empty home. It's people that parted in a relationship that just ended.
Yeah.
It's you know my misogynistic ways.
Oh, of course.
It's an empty womb.
They're your best ways.
It's an empty womb longing for children. Or,
right.
Yeah, so emptiness is literally always defined by limited containment.
Yeah.
Once you get rid of matrix-like limited containment. It's limitless freedom.
Okay, see, that was the move I missed, because I thought what you were saying was a void is seeing the emptiness through a limitless frame, but you were saying emptiness itself becomes limitless when you...
Yeah. Once you get rid of the limitations or the containment or the matrix.
But does the emptiness transform into the void?
It might as well.
Okay.
Yeah, for my particular distinction, I just chose void and emptiness, particularly because the infinite is usually called a void rather than emptiness.
Yeah.
And particularly with Westerners in relation to the Eastern void, it's very scary because we come from a place where emptiness usually is lack and void is usually lack.
Yeah.
Whereas once it becomes infinite, though, then it's no longer lack. It's freedom, limitless, fullness.
Right.
And that's when it goes beyond the dual comparison of thing and not thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's all of a sudden everything beyond the dual distinction.
And I, in a weird way, I think this would almost be like a cool heuristic in a relationship to see in what way, how deeply you were connected.
Yeah.
So if somebody said to you, my life has been empty since you left me, it would mean you functioned in a certain capacity in their life.
Yeah.
And they are now missing those elements. Whereas if they said, now it feels like there's a void in my life, it almost feels like it is incalculable the ways in which you were important to me.
Yes.
And it almost, here's the other thing, and I touch you to deal with my very, I'll just keep pushing. Because I won't even say like what the context is, not that anybody from a certain event would hear this, but like I made like a funny joke and then the woman instantly touched me on the shoulder. And it's like, that's always how you know you got somebody, is when it has to move to the physical, right?
Yes.
It's like the emotional words aren't enough.
No, yeah.
Like I need to let you know how much it affected me, right?
Yeah.
But here I did it actually based on my own genius.
Yeah.
So for me, it's also interesting that when we say voiding a check, that you void something, it's almost like you're nullifying that. So when there's a void, avoiding. So when you're missing them from your life and it feels like a void, it's not only the missing components, but it almost feels like they voided everything that you had.
Yeah.
And in a way, maybe
if they were your centerpiece, particularly. Yeah.
Right.
Because if they're the center, they're everything, and everything else is connected to that. Take away the center, everything else does get nullified.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like even if there was a break in a relationship
especially
like,
if their identity
did it feel more like a
person,
void or does it feel more empty?
Yeah. Especially because if there's a void in the way we're using the word, that person defined you and your life completely. Whereas if you were more of the centerpiece, there will be an emptiness. Yeah. But your center is still there. Yeah. You're still central.
And I mean, obviously, one is more psychologically healthy than the other, but one makes you feel a lot better and helps you feel like.
And particularly going back in, we could connect this to the masculine and feminine, because you talk about feminine performance and the emptiness behind it, right? And the lack of feeling, and how it's all surface. I mean, I think emptiness and a void, when it's feminine, it serves the same principle. They're both lacking the spiritual meaning of the word, right? It's a finite principle. So
interesting.
Yeah, the feminine is the best example of like emptiness in terms of like social performance and the social charade and all of that. It's like the hollow laughter at a cocktail party.
Yeah,
there's no true joy. It's just empty, forced, ringing, and echoing.
I find myself doing that.
You do it all the time.
You notice it? Just empty laughter? How could you not? Well, I only realized it like a couple days ago. So you just noticed that there are times I laugh when it wasn't like, well, I mean, it's almost like more like a tick.
Yeah.
This was a scene in The Sopranos
but
where...
there's a difference, because with you, or not even you, I'm messing around.
Yeah.
There's some people where it's funny, you're just acknowledging it.
Yeah.
There's no like real inverse ratio of pain with it.
Okay, gotcha.
Whereas at a cocktail party, you almost like feel the sorrow. You're like, these people are desperate to feel something.
Gotcha.
And there's like a soulless mask they're wearing.
I hate to say it, not to aggrandize myself. I feel like it's facilitative joy. Like it's almost like more about social lubrication.
Yeah.
That when, I don't know. I mean, to me, it kind of feels weird when like people say things and then everyone's silent.
It is, yeah.
I don't know, like, and I feel
Breaks the
more pronounced
communication.
for me
Yeah.
is like when I make a joke and like nobody even gives me like a half-ass like, huh?
Yeah.
Then it's like, okay, well, why did I just say that?
It breaks
and,
the rhythm too.
Yeah, and now it's discouraging to me reaching out. And
You're
now
supposed to be a concert together.
isn't it? Right.
It is, yeah.
So I mean, yeah, not to like justify what is otherwise probably like real cuckish behavior.
And like when I'm sure you noticed when I talk, I'm speaking about pure principles.
Yeah.
So I'm more of talking about like a literary version of life in a hyper reality.
But this is just something I think about. Like on Friday night, I was playing video games with guys, and I just find myself like I laughed, and I'm like I didn't find it funny.
Okay.
But it's like, but I laugh, but
it's almost more of a form of communication.
Yeah, I mean it's almost like an LOL at the end of a text.
Social cues.
Yeah, I'm not really laughing, you know. And the other thing is,
well, I never used LOL in my life.
There you go.
That was one of my big.
You just heard my fake laugh, me going like you know.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, it wasn't like the funniest thing I've ever heard. Top 3, but not the funniest.
I mean, you're putting we put on performances. Like there's a positive way to put on performances, right? Because you're truly having fun and you're truly enjoying just performing.
Well, then it's not a performance, though. I mean, really, like if you're just genuinely laughing.
We could call it, to make a distinction, we could be like arts, right?
Okay,
like, it's
gotcha.
artistry. But I mean, the feminine performance, like,
gotcha.
That is such an archetype, right? That feminine mask.
For manipulation purposes.
Yes.
So if I'm sitting there and thinking these guys don't like me, let me ingratiate myself by laughing at their jokes. That would be sickening.
It's the bored housewife.
Yeah.
Drinking wine.
Right.
Trying to feel something in a life that is nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm going for.
I think, I wonder.
So swaffed.
Yeah. Yeah, I just, because I notice times when I haven't done it, it's like people almost, they feel like I'm in a bad mood or that I'm being aggressive or threatening.
Especially
like I notice people are just almost like uncomfortable if I'm just like sitting there and not talking and they're like, is everything okay?
Today's world, you need a ton of social flair just to have a conversation. Otherwise, people get scared. And I mean, how many people prefer to text rather than talk face to face?
I mean,
or even a phone call.
I feel it's a microaggression every time my mom texts me okay.
I know.
Just okay. I'm like,
know.
Why do you hate me?
I know.
Because in some way we're so used to unnecessary pleasantries.
Yes.
And that's why like Europeans will be like, why are you laughing? Why are you smiling? Why are you thanking them for this? Like they're just matter of fact, no flair, essential communication. And they must think we're just like actors putting on performances.
For sure. Yeah, but I mean, it has its own valid logic for sure.
Yeah. And even for sure, it's like, is that for me, like if you didn't validate my point in some way, I'd be like, well, maybe he thought what I said was stupid.
For sure.
But you saying for sure, then I'm like, oh, I'm checking in, you know? This is good.
Yeah, I'm aware that I do that purposely for that too. So it's funny that you bring that up because I have been aware of that with me and people. I do value saying for sure. And even with text, I always say nice sounds good. I'll never just say nice. Like that is like a sign that I am in a bad mood. So
right.
It is kind of funny how we all have our own standards.
Well, the other thing is once you create a baseline, right?
Yeah.
So if I text a girl every night that says like "Sweet dreams, angel" with a smiley face, and one night I say "Good night" with a period, she's like, "What happened?
Yes.
What did I do?
Yeah.
What happened in your life?" So you create expectations.
Yeah.
And that's probably more acutely what's the scenario with me when I'm quieter. People just assume something is wrong with me because of my baseline. Whereas if I would have never been that way, they wouldn't have had that expectation. Although in America, I think we have that expectation.
For sure.
Oh, yeah. Now, I'm never going to hear his for sure genuinely. I'm just going to hear him cucking out to me.
Sure for.
I'm just going to have the visual of Rob getting down on bended knee and supplicating himself to me. Yeah.
Certainly.
See, he's going to change it up now.
Certainly.
These writers and their vocabularies. Yeah, so we're going to be on a long journey of working through this and our ideas.
We could even start with the introduction because that looks pretty substantial.
Oh, good.
Yeah. I mean, why not talk about his life a little bit, I guess.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I just kind of feel like we truly were built as humans to walk with God in the Garden of Eden, to co-regulate with God. Like truly, like we walked with him. It wasn't a matter of we saw him or we could talk to him. We walked with him. That is what the archetype is for human existence. And the moment there became disconnection, we have just been trying to find all these paltry pseudo connections. And that's why, the real connection for a man is to have a wife and to have children and to be able to live for them, to be that, that model of Christ, laying down his life, laying down his pride, laying down his wants, and living for them. And when you don't have that, I just think things go awry. I think we seek connection in very unhealthy ways that actually further disconnect us, but they're almost like palliative care. They're just enough to manage an emergency without actually sating us in any meaningful way. And it's almost like drinking salt water. Like it wets the tongue so you feel like you're hydrating, but all it's doing is dehydrating you more in the process.
Yeah.
Social media, pornography, fast food.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, whenever you say stuff like that, I always have, in my context, I always think you're trying to persuade me to start chasing women again. So that's
he's so defensive. I knew.
That's just me, though.
I knew I threatened him the moment I said that a man's purpose is to be with God. I knew it.
Steve trying to get me again.
We were having a secondary conversation while we were talking.
I was reading the subtext.
I was hearing you reading the subtext.
Trying to deceive me.
No, actually, Rob and I, the other day. So Rob's sleep has been real messed up. No offense on the HIPAA violation. But yeah, his sleep has been messed up, so he came over during the week.
Sleep in a metaphorical sense.
Yeah, right. And we were talking about how I finally realized that Rob and I were two sides of the same coin when it comes to romance, that we are both trying to control it rather than flow with it. And I'm trying to force it to happen in my life.
And on me.
What's that? And on you.
On me.
Well, of course.
Yeah.
And he's trying to protect himself from it and limit it. He's resisting against it. And both of us are trying to, exert force on it rather than allowing it to be whatever it's going to be. Are you now disavowing that? Genius insight, which is 100% true.
I mean, like we said, obviously it's valid. However, like we said, everything has time and place, because if the right person did come, I think that it would have happened, right?
Yeah, so I'm not saying anything different should have happened, right? What I am saying is I think that I did interfere at least at some points by trying to force it. Mm-hmm. And I think in all likelihood, you could have interfered by resisting it. In that if you wouldn't have had this notion about, women don't get me, modern women, blah, blah, like all these concocted notions you have in your mind. Yeah, right? All these stories you tell yourself that take you out of the present moment. And the present moment is simply when you're looking across from a woman, you just connect with her. It's not about sex. It's not about cup size. All that stuff is outside of this moment. All there is her eyes and the conversation that you're having. And I think you should be able to readily admit that you were not that present every time you spoke with a woman. Not that anybody is, but...
I mean, I think all my confabulations have valid points.
Oh, I'm sure you do, Playboy.
Well... I mean, we're talking about there is something to say in this modern day that if you don't conform to modern non-values.
He's
or
running.
anti-values.
He's justifying.
I mean,
If you're explaining, you're losing.
and we did say that. I mean, me personally, I've had a lot of friends that were women, and a lot of my women relationships turned into friends.
Yeah.
And I think that was meant to be for whatever reason. And like I said, I think my ultimate destiny, I don't know about you, is get famous and hook up with a bunch of chicks. So that's my destiny.
It sounds like a good time.
I mean, that's the whole reason we're doing this.
Listen, it's the only reason anybody does anything.
I mean, I'm doing it for the infinite.
What you just said was to hook up with the random chicks, and even the infinite.
They're just one form of the infinite.
My
There's
gosh.
the minor form.
So
of the
you'll
infinite.
actually like this Evan Peters character in this new Ryan Murphy show about these people who take an injection and instantly get hot and young. It's called Beauty. It's wild. At any rate,
modern premise and idea.
I know, right?
And
So
that's really all people are thinking about. Want to be young and have sex.
that's what anybody ever wants. So this FBI agent is talking to another FBI agent, and
What a substitute for being immortal, though, right?
is what's that? Just being
Wanna
young,
be young
forever?
and bang
Yeah, Tuck
forever.
Everlasting.
Yeah.
Tuck Everlasting. So yeah, he basically, she says like, do you think it's all about sex? And he's like, I think every single thing anyone has ever done since puberty has been about sex. That any career advancement, any improving your body, improving your mind,
What a false
improving your
idol, though.
relationships.
You know,
What's that?
What a false idol! Like seeking heaven through the forest of a vagina.
Well, it's just biological reductionism. It's not necessarily that I agree with it. I'm just saying I think for certain people that they do flatten
definitely.
experience that way.
Definitely.
And they just see everything. And I mean, if you believe in evolutionary mechanisms,
Hell no.
I mean, I would say if you believe in that framework, that is the most important compulsion. And we see this in the animal kingdom. There are animals that will copulate at the cost of death.
Yeah.
Because that's,
Praying mantis?
propagating your
Black
exactly.
widow? Yeah.
Propagating your genes. So
And there's no better pleasure than dying at sex.
I mean, it sounds like a good time. Not that I want to try it, but
I mean, with the belt and the masturbation.
Oh
and
my
the choking
gosh.
and
See,
asphyxiation.
what Rob won't ever talk about is the fact that he is in recovery, AA, not for alcohol. That's his cover story. It's actually for autoerotic asphyxiation.
Oh yeah.
That was really what got
Onanism.
Onanism.
That's what I call it.
Oh, okay.
Well, that's what Stark called it.
Autoerotic asphyxiation?
Or just masturbatory.
Yeah. Onanism is like the larger category, but I was talking about how you put a belt around your neck to asphyxiate your brain.
Well, I just
intensify
said I
your
did
organs.
that. Yeah.
Well, and I'm saying but you framed it as like a joke.
Oh,
And
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
saying that like they should know that when
And
we talk
well-
about you being sober, it's sober from choking yourself while jerking.
That's my ironic frame, though. Anything
Yeah,
I say
I know.
seriously is a joke. And a joke
That's
is all
always what I
serious.
do. Yeah.
It's just a mere reflection of reality.
Yep.
I mean, modern inversion.
Anytime you think I'm joking, I'm telling the truth. Anytime you think I'm telling the truth, I'm joking.
Definitely.
Okay, well, on that note, you can definitely trust us moving forward.
We gave you the code to break down the language. And
We have
everything, so-
jester's privilege. And also, I don't know if it's too soon to let people know, these are actually not our true facades.
I'm actually Steve, and he's actually Rob.
Yeah, so we did this AI inversion technique. It's a long story. We'll talk about it next time. Okay, love you.